I have no idea where I'm up to or what I've filmed and what I haven't. The giant is ready to paint. But I really want to focus on the Wild West stuff right now. I've got a game with Ara, my friend from Mana Press. We played a game a couple of weeks ago, or about a week ago. I don't know, I've had the worst week. I've got a terrible, terrible cough. Some metapneumovirus virus or something like that. And it's screwed up my whole week. However, this is what we've got on the printer at the moment, a whole bunch of carts. Need carts. I want to make some fences, some rocky outcrops, but for the first time in years and years and years, I've actually painted some little mans. These were so much fun to paint. I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I'm one of those people that just normally do a base coat and a wash and just call it done, and then later on get all grumpy about how disappointed I am with my paint job. So I did spend a little bit of extra time to come back and highlight back up with the base colors and then bring them up another level. They're not fantastic, but I'm very happy with them. I've got the next 5 ready to go. We're just waiting on basing and stuff to dry for those guys. So I'm going to try and do them in batches of 5. I need to get a new anti-shine because my matte varnish is not doing a fantastic job. They'll really come together quite nicely once I get a proper matte spray on them, and they'll match the rest of my figures. But we've got some civilians to play with. That's pretty exciting, but I need to get on with some terrain. Now, part of the problem with the pine bark that we get here is it's all really small. We can't get like big chunks of it unless we go out to the pine forests, which are sort of a 5-hour drive from where I am. And then you can go walking around in the pine forest and find the big chunks. Oh God. There's boxes and boxes of stuff here. Heresy Miniatures Ogres. Who knows, all sorts of stuff in there. But this should, I think, yes, have pine bark in it. I did also find there's just stuff piled up everywhere. Oh, I don't know if you can see in that box in the corner. I'm going to move all of this stuff. I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of those Aldi Christmas trees. A massive, massive tub of them. You know, when these come around at Aldi at Christmas time, everybody goes nuts. They're on all the Facebook groups. They're pretty ordinary trees, but I've got heaps of them. And I did notice that in this box of bark, there's some reasonable bits in here, some reasonable chunks. So I think, you know, this will work well. This one's very flat. I want big chunks, you know, anyway. I think this will work well for a bunch of rocky outcrops. So I was thinking that I might use some of these bases, just big round MDF discs for the rocky outcroppings. Kind of like old CD terrain. Otherwise, we've got to fish out some bases. Now I know I've got a box somewhere, maybe back out in that shed or upstairs, of cut bases. This box, yes, has a whole bunch of irregular sized bases in it that have already been beveled on the edges. I haven't used this box for years, but when I was building a lot of terrain, I'd use a lot of the excess or offcuts or miscuts or whatever from the lasers and just spend an afternoon cutting out these bases. Little rock outcrops all done. I did remove some of the plaster material. There was too much on there, and I managed to spread it around, you know, all 5 of them, covering up the majority of the hot glue seams just by jamming a little bit in there. These have been drying all night. Now they're ready to do the basing. Put some, you know, details, some reeds, a little bit of groundwork. But otherwise, 5 little rocky outcroppings can get added to the table for next week. Now, the workbench is a mess because I've also been working on some trees, which we'll have a look at next time.